All right. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Inside Sales Enablement Season 3, the finale, Episode 20. And who better to save the best for last than Sheevaun Thatcher herself? Sheevaun, say hello to the gang. Everyone already knows you know, right?
Hello, gang.
Out here in enablement world. And if you haven't heard the news, you can officially get Sheevaun as a service. And no, we're not talking about someone trying to replicate her as a bot. She has officially launched SheevaunThatcher.com. Awesome site. Go check it out. And she is providing her services. You wanted to say a few things about that real quickly? We'll start with the commercial. How about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it is, through all the years that I've been doing enablement, we run into frustrations and things that don't go the way that we anticipate. And so I've learned the hard way most of the time about what works and what does not. And I've learned how to make things work very quickly and effectively and prescriptive and focused. And that's really what I want to work and help companies with is the line on the thing is I want to help companies cut through the chaos. There is so much noise and so much chaos and all of this that the time that they want their sellers selling has gotten even worse because of all of these new things, right? Everybody's talking AI, but then all of a sudden these sellers are presented with 5 or 6 new AI tools. That doesn't help them. It doesn't.
Right.
It just makes it harder for them to do their job. So I'm not saying AI is not a good way to go. I'm saying that these companies need help to figure out how do we really make sure that our sellers are doing the things that are really going to move the needle, are going to move the needle with precision and actually help revenue move forward where it is predictable and you actually have an idea what the outcomes are going to be. You're not just throwing spaghetti against the wall.
And that they have the environment to get it done, whether it's AI or whether it's
whether it's Google Sheets, who cares, right? Are they focusing on the right thing? Because if a process is broken, it doesn't matter what tools you throw at it.
Bingo. And if anyone knows process and enablement, it's Sheevaun. She's been here. What a perfect way to end our past, present, future edition of the podcast, season 3. Then with Sheevaun, who was there from the beginning. And she has attained the highest heights. I would argue one of the few to truly be an enablement executive when you are leading enablement for Ring Central and then Slack and then Salesforce officially itself. There's not much more of a pinnacle than being an executive in those companies and running enablement. So listen closely as we hop into this episode, everyone. And with that, Sheevaun, I'll dive in with just kind of let's get in the way back machine a little bit. When did Sheevaun Thatcher first hear the words sales enablement?
I first heard them in 2012 at a Forrester conference. I believe that's when I first heard it. I've been doing it for a long time before that. I mean, I would venture to say that the work I did as a pre-sales leader, right, as a sales consulting, I mean, I've been doing enablement-y stuff for a very long time before that. But in the role of enablement and what it's come to be known, I started that in 2008.
Wow.
But I heard the term first by Forrester. Forrester were the first ones who glommed onto it. Gartner would have nothing to do with it. They didn't believe it was real. They never, nothing. But Forrester did. And that is where I met Scott Santucci and Brian Lambert, was through that. Now, unfortunately, it only lasted a couple of years. And then Forrester made the decision that enablement and marketing and all that were all one big happy family. And, and it went away, which was unfortunate. But that was really the first time I heard that term. Before that, I was the VP of Global Success Metrics.
I didn't realize that Forrester had combined everything back in. I thought sales enablement had remained a standalone. That in and of itself is
no. The conference disappeared. There was a sales enablement conference that they ran for I think 3 years, and I went to every one. And then in year 4, they decided that no, it's all part of marketing, so we're just going to lump it in with the marketing conference in Florida. And it was like, no.
So it was a track inside of a conference. It didn't have its own identity and its own.
It had its own identity, but then it lost its identity.
Got it. Okay, interesting. So then, and you kind of touched on it. Let's shift into the Sales Enablement Society, now Revenue Enablement, right, itself. When did that come into your professional journey? Because I don't believe Scott had founded it by that point.
No, he hadn't founded it yet. In September, I think it was September 2015, he and Jim Ninavaji.
Yes.
bless his soul, he and Jim came out to the Bay Area and invited 17 of us to meet at a Marriott in San Jose to sit around a table and talk about this new idea that they were thinking about. And so there was me and Daniel West and Roderick Jefferson and a few others, right? Oh. We all came together. We didn't know each other. There was no network for what we did. Right. So that happened. And then a little bit later, Scott started up the group in DC. And then it was after that that Palm Springs occurred in 2016. That's where it really started, as far as I could tell. He was part of Anderson, and he just managed to get Anderson to pay for a bolt-on for an afternoon after their conference. So in order for me to go to the bolt-on, I went to the conference. That's where I met Chris Kingman and, folks like that. But it was that afternoon that really changed things.
Right. That's the room where it happened.
That's the room where it happened. And it was such a different take on what it is that we did. And I realized that this really did have legs, that we could make this a profession and not just a whole bunch of salesy teachers like it was before.
So as someone who was not in the room where it happened, the three primary takeaways from that meeting that I've remained focused on are the three founding positions of the society, which you were right there for the creation of. I'm just curious, and just as a quick flyover, one, that enablement was in fact a strategic approach to eliminating friction across the entire revenue engine, not just training and onboarding and coaching, but also, so that's more talent, right? Talent enablement, message enablement, demand management, and administration of the commercial process. Then two was that it really needed to be run as a cross-functional business within a business. And three was that there was an aspiration to get to the C-suite and be a chief productivity officer, I think is what you all landed on, which again, arguably, I think you're one of the few that ever attained that kind of a height, no matter what you call it. It didn't need a specific title, right? So of those, what still resonates with you today? First of all, did I get them right? Is that kind of were those?
Yeah, you got them right. You got them right. I mean, the first is that it's real. It's a strategic approach this is a real thing, and that there does need to be process, and there does need to be structure around it, which is true. Right. And it's that structure. When I talk about the business within a business, when I talk about my 4 pillars, when I talk about how enablement is an investment, not a cost center, that is all tied into that.
Right.
Right. And so I firmly believe that, it is a very much a strategic approach to how companies can go to market and the support structure needed to support that. The cross-functional piece, that was one of the biggest things that I learned and the biggest impact that I've had at every company that I've been at. Because I was able to show very, very quickly that enablement is, in fact, the hub of an organization. We talk to everybody and should be talking to everybody because everyone is a seller. Everybody has a viewpoint. Everybody interacts in some fashion with how the company exists. And it's how to figure all that out and how to get them to talk to each other. And I think the biggest relationship that I figured out fairly early on was between marketing and sales, right? How do we make sure that sales are not just doing brochureware, and then marketing is delivering customer consumable selling information that the sellers can actually talk about, right? So it was figuring that one out. And that one, to me, that just came down to 2 questions, right? The content coming from marketing, what's in it for the sellers is the first thing. And the second thing is, how's it going to help the customers buy from them, right? Because up to that point, and still I see it a lot, is that marketing is telling sales how to sell. Hey, do this, run it this way. And it's like, hold on, we're in sales for a reason. Let's just, give me the 5 to 10 open-ended questions I need to have the conversation. Let me take it from there.
Right.
And so it was figuring that out. So number 2 is really important. And then number 3, getting to the C-suite is all about this responsible to, not for, right? We have to be able to have that relationship where it's a strategic partnership from the top all the way down, or it doesn't matter how much money you throw at it, what kind of talent you throw at it, how good the programs are. All it takes is one influential frontline manager and the whole thing's a house of cards.
Right.
Right. And so you have to have that relationship all through the sales hierarchy and the enablement hierarchy to ensure that everybody are strategic partners with this. So yeah, all three of them still resonate.
Awesome. What else? So I tend towards those. I think that they were the most publicized coming out, but I know you all talked about a lot of amazing things. As you look back, was there anything that started to take hold there that you got really excited about that maybe didn't, I won't say make the cut, but isn't still part of kind of the focus of enablement today that maybe you'd like to see more emphasis?
Yeah, I think I hear a lot of people saying, hey, you've got great gravitas. How do I get that? I hear that a lot, right? And it's like, well,
It's your
first of
word.
all, yeah, well, I mean, first of all, you have to take the stairs. You're not going to get gravitas taking the elevator, right?
Right.
You've got to go that route. But the other thing that it does is it tells us that we have to be able to believe in ourselves and know that when we walk into those rooms, we know enablement better than anybody else.
Right. Have
Right?
the confidence.
Being folks that are typically in service, we have a tendency to wait until people tell us what they want us to do. Instead of us going in and saying, I love what you're talking about. Let me give you my opinion. Now let's work out. Again, it comes back to that strategic partnership. But it was meeting people at that event, like the professors, right? Robert and Howard, and meeting Brian,
Yes.
and meeting Juliana and Bill and Bob Britton and Scott, and just meeting these people that believed in this and actually had, Tanya Schultz had a real strong understanding of where we needed this to go.
Yes.
And all we wanted and all we needed was a network and other people that looked at it the same way. Right. I mean, there was an event that Scott still talks about where we were talking about what do we call ourselves. And I'm a big time introvert. I know it's hard to believe, but I am a big time introvert. I was very uncomfortable being at that thing because I usually just go sit in the corner and don't say much. But we were talking about what we call ourselves. And my LinkedIn actually said Chief Productivity Officer.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right. And I hadn't said anything. And there was a guy from a manufacturing company. He's like, I can't call myself that. HR says I'm not allowed. And I stood up, totally
There we go.
different from what I would ever do. I stood up and I said, it doesn't matter what they call you. It matters what you call you. And I call myself the Chief Productivity Officer. I really don't care what they put down in HR.
Awesome. Walk
And
with that confidence.
Yeah. And that's where, where this gravitas title came from is I believe that we have something to say. I believe that our experience and our knowledge, we have a viewpoint that no sales leader will ever have. We have a viewpoint that no marketing leader will ever have. And our viewpoint and our point of view is from the insights that we get with all of the folks that we deal with and the ability to tie it all together, wrap it up in a nice bow, and make sure that the company understands that they're going in the right direction. And ultimately, that the customers recognize the people they're dealing with are ones who are very much customer first, right? I've been talking the customer first thing for years. Like I get asked a lot of time, who are my stakeholders? I'm like, it's that my partners are the sales leaders, right? Frontline manager and up. My stakeholders are our customers, because if they're not buying from us, then we got nothing anyway.
Right. So how about community identity? I mean, we had a big shift in 2023 when the RES was officially formed. We shift from sales enablement to revenue enablement. And I'm hearing a little bit of everything. I'm hearing AI enablement these days. I'm hearing sales excellence, and get rid of the word enablement. It never stuck.
Yep.
Where kind of do you land in that camp? What did you think when we changed to revenue, and what's kind of the present state you think of?
So it was really interesting. When I first heard revenue enablement, it was long before that. And I really dug my heels in. I was like, nope, not revenue enablement. And they're like, well, why not? And it's because the people that I work with, the people that I support, because at that time I was doing full corporate enablement, right? Supporting all of Ring Central, not just the sellers. I said, not everybody I'm supporting is directly aligned on their performance with revenue. And so for me, I find that very restricting. But then I took a different view on it, and I just sat back and thought, no, actually everybody is in some way associated with the revenue that the organization gets, because the revenue is what keeps the organization going forward. So the switch to revenue enablement didn't really bother me. Now, There is a lot of talk now, as you said, about the word enablement itself. From the very beginning, when you hear about enablers in psychology, it's not a good thing, right?
Come on,
Psychologists
have a
don't look at
taste.
enablers,
Yeah.
you're as a
Right.
terribly good thing, but we didn't have any other words. So
Yeah.
now I'm looking much more of it as a go-to-market growth opportunity, a rather than just enablement, which is typically looked at as like a slice of the pie. I'm looking at it as it is a growth engine that we work across the whole organization. It isn't just sales enablement as a one-off term. It is corporate growth and how we support that corporate growth. So I'm going away from the enablement term a little too, but it's not
Okay.
because it's not a bad term. It's because it does not fully explain what it is that we do. Because we don't do just enablement. I work with marketing leaders and helping them define what the go to market is. I work with C suite to say, these are the things that you need to take a look at if you're really going to move your company forward. You've got to focus. Are you trying to do optimization and save money? Are you trying to be disruptive and break things and spend money? What are you trying to do? And helping them actually figure that out, because that is what is going to drive the kinds of programs that get put into place.
So it sounds like maybe the overarching is it's go to market. You're doing go to market. Like what do you consider looking at your homepage itself? You're right. I didn't even think about it through that lens, but the word enablement isn't there.
Nope.
It's 40 plus years of sales productivity experience. I half expected from what you just shared to see go to market, right? I'm hearing go to market enablement, which almost is two different. One's all encompassing and one's a little more focused in the vernacular. What do you think maybe is the future if you were to think through the lens of, hey, where the Revenue Enablement Society still exists, is there an opportunity for them to become more all encompassing? What would you call that?
I think it already is becoming all more encompassing.
Okay.
The difference between the Revenue Enablement Society and the other ones that I've encountered and come across and done presentations at and things like that
Sure. You're
is
everywhere.
that, number one, it's a bunch of volunteers. It's people that are there to support the profession itself. That's what I see as the Revenue Enablement Society is there to say there is a place that you can go. There is a network that you can meet with where nobody has any type of agenda. It is just,
Right.
we're just there to help each other. Right.
Which
I
what
don't see
I'll
that so much in the other ones. They're
got it.
looking to, right. But this is what I see from this group. Challenges, absolutely. There's definitely been up and down and up and down and up and down. And I will never miss, as long as I'm able, I will never miss a Revenue Society conference.
Love it.
Right. Because
Yeah.
it's an opportunity for me. It's exhausting for me because, I get people pull me aside all the
Oh.
time to ask me questions and all that. I go hide in the bathroom ever so often. Right. And pull my
You
feet up
are
because I've
in
been caught in the
demand.
bathroom with my fancy shoes. People see them and start asking me questions, even if I'm
Right. They
in the
know the
stall.
shoes. Of
Yeah. So I
course.
got to, pull my feet up and kind of hide in the
Right.
corner. but I wouldn't miss it because
Love it.
of the learning that can happen in that short few days.
That's awesome. And the coaching, counseling,
Yeah.
inspiring that you can do being there. And thank you for that. We've been talking about enablement history a good bit. We've gone a little bit to the present. So let's shift to the future. Those two little words that start with A and end with I come to mind. But what do you see? Maybe the future of the community, maybe a few recommendations that you can share, and the future that you're trying to impart through your business, kind of through those couple different lenses.
Yeah. So there's a few things. I mean, from a fundamental perspective, if you're not already learning prompt engineering and how to interact with a lot of these tools as an enablement person, you're already behind.
Yeah.
Because I believe that the days of the big corporate decks, I believe the days of all this heavy duty competitive training, I believe the days of certifications and all, those are going the way of the dodo, because I can get answers with a well-designed prompt in a matter of seconds that in the past could have taken weeks or months of learning. And so onboarding is changing. Ongoing enablement is changing. What we need to become experts in. We need to be experts in prompt engineering, period, end of sentence. We need to all be like Jonathan Carver, right? That guy creates these amazing prompts.
This episode brought to you by GTM AI Academy. Learn AI from a globally trusted resource. Coach K, Jonathan Carfort. Their bundle, Enablement AI Mastery, includes both the core Generative AI Foundations course and Enablement AI Mastery specifically. Each course has a value of $599 individually, but Coach K is offering them as a bundle with reduced pricing. And as a listener of the Inside Sales Enablement podcast, if you act now, you can use code ISE3 to get an additional 30% off of the entire thing. You will also receive free access to the GTM AI Tools demo library. Coach K has done the demos, so you don't have to, and offers his straight shooting opinion, fact-based through an enablement lens. Go to www.gtmaiacademy.com and enter code ISE30 today and elevate your AI enablement game.
So I know there's a lot of others out there, but we need to be experts like that. I know you've taken AI training. I've taken AI training because we realize that these tools, they can connect the dots faster than any of us can. Doesn't mean it's right.
Right,
This is where this is where I see a lot of people fall down is they take whatever they get back and think it's, to coin a phrase, gospel truth, when in fact, if you don't vet this information, any HI tool will give you an answer with the same level of confidence, whether it's right or total and absolute BS.
Right.
And
then if you tell them it's wrong and then give it the right answer, no, that's what I meant.
That's what I meant. Do you want to dig deeper on what you just told me is the right answer? Sure. Love that.
So actually we're sponsored by GTM AI Academy and Jonathan Carfort, Coach K. So huge fan of that. Any other resources that you've found helpful as you've made the pivot?
I just every single day I go out. I've got some sites that I take a look at. TLDR is one. There is. It's funny. I just went through my emails this morning, and I think I moved a bunch of them out, and so I don't have the names of them. But there are a number of them, and I'm happy to share it later of sites that I get information from and what's going on in the world right now. Right? What's happening? What is AI? What's really going on? Jonathan's site, right? What he posts is really good. And it's more about being curious, being willing to experiment. Most of the AI tools, you can get a test account for free.
Right.
Just get them and try it. Just try them, right? Figure out what they can do, and then you can figure out how that you can use them the best. They just speed things up.
Yeah. So maybe if I could make a recommendation, what would be awesome is maybe on your site itself, we could point the viewers to a section where maybe you share some of your trusted resources.
That's a great idea.
And then we get a 2-for-1 of encouraging folks to visit your site and check out what you're up to and have a few,
AI newsletters.
And so
that's a great idea. I'm going to do that.
Awesome. We're excited to see that, Sheevaun. And maybe that's a good place to land so that maybe you have a fewer folks looking for your shoes in the nearest lavatory. Maybe end with a thing or two that you've shared that you've heard feedback. Man, Sheevaun, that's a game changer. And I know you've covered some of them. Gravitas was the big one for me. Whenever I say the word gravitas, I give you credit because having a seat at a table is so critical. And even more so now, and what you just shared is the key to that. A lot of it is making sure you know your AI stuff and prompting and investing in that. Any other final words that are maybe even more generic that you've shared with folks that you've received some feedback like, man, I really needed to hear that from you?
So there's a few things. One of them is don't trade innovation for increment. What I see a lot is that people try to do little fixes and put Band-Aids here and Band-Aids there and, all that kind of stuff. Stop. Rethink what you've got. There is nothing worse than using new tech with old artifact. right?
Great point.
If you've got old stuff carrying through and it's not gonna help you, right? And that is looking at everything. It's looking at process, it's looking at delivery, it's looking at messaging, it's looking at everything. It's looking at the tools that you use. It's looking at how you set up your day. How do you hire people? What kind of enablement folks are you looking for now? Right? I mean, it's all of that, and it's all tied together with that. And I think the last thing that I like to leave people with is, for me, it's really, really important that, and this ties in with Gravitas, and it ties in with point of view, and it ties in with experience, is that we have critical conversations versus artificial harmony.
You don't need yes men. You need folks and women. You need people who are not afraid to go, I'm confident, I've got a seat at the table, and I'm going to share my voice. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. I mean, and that's where the 5 questions, right? That's where that came from for me, was to give anybody in enablement that I know a tool that they can use so that it's not hard for them to say no or not yet, or, right? They have a tool that everybody understands that is prescriptive, focused, and allows them to actually move a program forward or discount the program altogether.
So speaking of 5 and knowledge and all of these things you've shared with the community, I've heard rumor, we've talked about it for years. I've been encouraging you, as have many, that maybe a book's in the works. Can you give us a peek? And
yeah, yeah, I've been working on it for a long time. I actually talked to an editor a couple months ago.
Awesome.
And he said, okay, it's good. He said, you got a lot of stuff in here, though, that's kind of repeating what other people are saying. But this thing about the 4 pillars and the business within a business and that's really cool. And I thought it is. What's interesting and what I'm finding a little bit difficult is that I can explain what it is in 150 words, whereas a book requires me to do 15,000. And to me, where I'm struggling is I feel like I'm going to have to be too verbose in order to get something across that I see as direct. It's funny, it's the first time I said that, but I think that's where I'm struggling, is that I can say it simply so people understand, or I can be really, 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 really wordy.
Interesting. Final thought for me on that is maybe there's a spot for that in the GTM AI Academy, even if it's not AI specific. Maybe it could be a module that people could take.
It could be that. The other thing I want to do is, if on my website, now that I've come out of the closet and everything is out there as of Thursday.
Love it. Congrats again.
Right. Each of these things does have subplots to them. And I want to start writing little posts, little articles about these pieces, right? So maybe it's not a book. Maybe it is a combination of little articles that eventually get smushed up into an ebook. I don't know, but something along that line. But yeah, I got things to say.
Got it. Coming free to an inbox near you and
exactly.
Or LinkedIn. I love it, Sheevaun. As always, you just keep giving. Just keep giving. And thank you for that, for inspiring me from the very beginning. I had the blessing of having dinner with you right out of the gates at one of Eli's dinners in San Antonio.
Oh, wow. That was a while ago.
Yeah, when I met everyone pretty much for the first time face to face. So you've been there from the beginning for me and for so many people. I will always be looking for the shoes whenever I show up as well. Well, I'll try to give you some breathing room, and just grateful for you, Sheevaun, and on behalf of the entire community, and so excited to see what keeps happening. One post, one next big step, one AI, and I can't wait to hear some of your AI hints and tips and tricks and share that with the audience. Any final parting words?
I firmly believe that the impact that we have in an organization is one of the most powerful that is there. We are truly an investment that a company must take if they are going to be successful. We've seen it where organizations have cut out their enablement folks because they only look at them as a cost center, and they are paying the price now. Yeah. They're paying the price because now that the game isn't being won easily on the field, they're looking for their strength and conditioning coaches, and they ain't there.
Yeah.
And so we need to, as individuals in our roles, believe the impact that we can have. I know we can. You know we can. And we need to believe it, stand in our superhero poses and go, you know what
Yes.
we're doing. You must have us.
Walk in confidence and demand gravitas. I love
That's
it,
it.
Sheevaun. Thank
That's
you so
it.
much for your time, for everything, for everyone. And we'll definitely be in touch. See you soon in the shoes.
Thanks, Eric.